Hello and welcome to Page Turners, a bookish podcast. Each week we choose a different book to read and then we come together and we talk about it. Just think of us as your book club pumpkin spice lattes, where you can read along through the week and then listen and berate us for our wrong opinions or cheer us on when we get it right. That's Liv.
And that's Amy. Woo!
Woohoo!
Well done.
Thanks.
How you doing?
Not bad, it's a Saturday. Woo!
It is a Saturday. We don't normally record at the weekend.
Mm-mm.
Two of us just living up our big social lives, normally.
I know, normally it's like, can't squeeze the podcast in.
Nah.
But today we can.
Our husbands are at daycare downstairs.
We're having a little play date, watching the rugby.
We better go down and check on them at some point.
We
Make
better.
sure we've got snacks and
We
drinks.
better make sure. How was your week?
Yeah, great. I was away in Durham. It was my mum's birthday on Wednesday.
Yay! Shout out to your mum.
Shout out to JW. We had a bit of champagne. She's a woman of luxury.
Mm-hmm.
She enjoys her champagne. So we went out to a little champagne bar and then went out to one of our favourite Italian restaurants in Durham.
Oh, sounds heavenly.
Shout out La Spaghettata.
Sponsor us.
I love that. They don't sponsor us some money, they just give us free food.
Would arguably be better, to be honest.
Very true,
Mm-hmm.
very true. Have you done anything this week?
This week, I don't think so. No. I was a day ahead all week.
Oh, that always, yeah,
But it was great because I kept thinking, it's Thursday, but it was Friday yesterday, and it was just like, we're so close to the podcast recording in the weekend. And we got our move-in date of next Friday, but we're not moving in next Friday. We're just going to get the keys, and then we're going to move in quite gradually over probably about a month, I think.
Oh, that sounds so civilised.
Yeah.
We were moving up from London and we did it in, one day.
Mm-hmm. We've done it in one day so many times, and it's just so horrific that
of course
I don't
you guys
want to
came
do
from
it again.
Guernsey. Did you do that in one day?
Yeah, we did. That was a bit of a blur, to be honest. We sent all our stuff on ahead of us, and then we just hoped that it all turned up.
Sent it on, never to see it again.
Just sort of resigned yourself to the fact that you just might not have any possessions when you get to Scotland.
And really, is that not you guys just trying to live a less materialistic life?
It's so us. So no, it's been quite nice, but we have been told, because we currently rent, that they will be doing viewings.
Oh, well, they're going to be doing reviewings in a boxed up house.
Exactly, and that's up to them. If that's what they want to do, it will be a complete and utter disaster zone. Already is. All I can say is thank God for Microsoft Teams backgrounds, because nobody can see the utter chaos that I live in.
First, I didn't know where that was going. Thank God for Microsoft, and I was like, well, I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. So when I work it, and it's like, you don't know what's behind me.
What are you reading?
Well,
it's
not. It's non-fiction.
Ah.
I don't. You will know this person. You
Okay.
absolutely will. It's Danny Robbins' 222 A Ghost Story.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no.
So he has a podcast,
Okay.
Uncanny, and he has a TV show, but he also has a book.
I'm sorry, shout out to him.
Yeah.
Can he help us out?
Please help us.
It's episode 5, Danny.
You're huge, Danny. Please help us out. And it's called Into the Uncanny, and it's a real life investigation into the paranormal.
Ooh, okay, all right. So it's non-fiction with an element of fiction. If you don't believe in ghosts, then it is. Yeah. All right, very nice. Are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it. It's quite different because it's like episodic almost. So there's 4 stories. So even if you think, this is a bit, I don't like this story, or I'm not keen, I don't think this is real, like he's really debunked it to that point, there's another one in the next couple of pages. So pretty good. And if you like his podcast, then you'll like his book.
There we go then.
I'm not giving you a promotion, Danny, because you don't need it.
No, if anything, turn it round. Give us a little bit of...
Yeah, if it's quid pro quo, then we'll see.
Yeah, we'll tag him in it.
What about you?
I am reading Legends in Lattes by Travis Baldry, because I finished What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. Finally.
Hooray, how was it? Was it all your mummy hopes and dreams?
I thought you meant my mum.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, she's big up JW. She's a huge reader of that
She's
specific
had too many
book.
shout outs today.
Pipe down. It was, I mean, to be fair, I put a post on Instagram last night calling out the author, Isabel, and she did respond with just one word, hugs. So she knows what she's done. The epilogue, oh my god. So the people that have read this book and will know what I'm talking about, And I will not say anything, because we only spoil the books we read and do on this podcast.
Yeah.
We do not spoil what we're currently reading.
No. Is it heartbreaking? Is it...
It's more like, what?
Oh, okay. So big twist.
And the second does not come out till November. So, but I had a lass message me on Instagram last night, or maybe this morning, saying, you think you had it bad? I read it last March. So she's been waiting. Ooh. She got an arc for it, and she's been waiting.
That's tough. Is it a duology likely to be?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just a duology or it's going to be a trilogy. I really hope it's a duology, because I cannot. Isabel, if you're listening, big long time listener, let's just keep that heartache to the first book, eh?
Yeah.
Much obliged.
Yeah, pal.
But no, I've heard good things about Legends and Lattes. I've heard it's extremely wholesome, and I heard it's like D&D sort of inspired. Nice. Yeah, I've only read the first page.
Okay.
It's really good.
But you're enjoying it. But that is impressive. That a first page can already have a good impression. Okay, shall we get into today's book?
This week, we have read The Pumpkin Spice Café by Laurie Gilmore.
Oh.
Tagline, it's the season to fall in love.
Oh, it's a cheese-tastic good time.
Oh, you know what you're opening that page for. We know what we're getting.
Must say, one of the nicest covers.
Oh, so pretty.
Love it.
I don't have it in real life. I have it in my Kindle, which is shad. Shame it's in black and white, but I have seen it in real life in a bookshop when I walked past it, and it was lush, to be fair.
Yeah.
We're obviously reading it out of season.
I know, and that is something that I think has that perhaps affected the reading experience.
Do you feel like it hindered your experience of enjoying? You didn't have a PLS? No? A PSL? Clearly I don't drink pumpkin spice lattes.
I love a pumpkin
or else
spice
I'd
latte.
know what that was.
I own my millennial basic status. No, I don't think it ruined it as such, but I do get, like, you know, when you get to certain times of the year and it's like, right, I'm in the mood to read this book or watch that TV show or watch that movie, and I think I am usually, like, when it comes to autumn time, I'm like, right, Gilmore Girls, let's go. Like, you want all the vibes. So maybe if I kind of read it in October, I would have been a bit more like, oh, this is so wholesome and cozy. But no, I didn't. It didn't take away from it, I don't think. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that when it comes to, like, October and you want to watch sort of, like, spooky things.
Yes.
Except, it seems wrong to... My dad was just speaking about, or he quoted The Lost Boys. And Alex has never seen The Lost Boys. I honestly, you will understand this as our friendship progresses, that Alex has not seen an awful lot of popular culture.
See, I would not have thought that about Alex.
In the last 10 years, it's been a real roller coaster for him as I've been introducing him to films that
the zeitgeist.
Yes. Yes. Welcome. He is Captain America. He has been unfrozen. We're having to introduce him to all of the fun things. But yeah, no, he's never seen Lost Boys, so I was like, we'll have to watch it in October. I'm afraid we cannot watch it outside of.
No.
So I do understand. What's the place called? Let's smash into the setting. What was it called again?
Dream Harbour.
Oh, thank you, because I did not write that down. Yeah, you said it's very gooey. Dream Harbour. Love it.
Dream Harbour. All I pictured in my head when I was reading it was Stardew Valley.
Amazing.
Have you played that?
Yes, appealing to the gamers.
Yeah, I know. We're a broad spectrum, but I think it was the same kind of idea of, like, there's one pub. There's one cafe. There's one bookshop. Like,
well, there'd have to be, or else there'd be a riot on.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Unless that's her plan for, like, book 4 or book whatever, when a rival bookshop owner comes to town. And
then it just
kicks
the
off.
Conflict.
There'd be more conflict in that book than there was in this one. That's for sure.
It wouldn't be hard. Yeah. We have a mayor who has...
Oh my God, has dreams. I think I definitely... And I think you probably agree, a lot of this book felt satirical.
So many times I was like, you are taking the piss now. You have to be.
You have to be taking the piss out of yourself, out of the genre, out of the tropes. Like, yes. Yeah, the mayor has dreams, and I don't think they exactly make town decisions on it, but there is an element of that.
They also make town decisions about things that are really fucking small scale. Like, the town has decided that this person's going to help you with your problem. Like, the town's going to vote for that? The town cares enough?
Or do you think that was just with Logan?
I don't know. Yeah, they were very protective of Logan because he is an orphan.
Unlucky in love.
Unlucky in love. Yeah.
But
okay, yeah.
Plot-wise, I think we need to talk about the main point of the two main points of the plot is Jeannie moves from a big city job in Boston to Dream Harbour to take over the cafe that her aunt has sort of just given her. Yeah. And what? Her aunt has retired and goes to a Caribbean place?
Yeah, I thought it was like she's on a tropical holiday somewhere.
I was just curious, does that mean that because she's on the holiday for an extended period of time, let's say 6 weeks, where's she going to live when she comes back?
I don't know, because the cafe comes with a flat, and I assume the aunt lived in the flat.
Yeah.
So why is she just giving up her livelihood and her house?
Is Dot living on the street now? Like, will they cover that in book 2? That's what I need to know.
I don't think that was ever mentioned.
It's definitely not mentioned.
No. Plot hole.
Yeah, Laurie, mention. Give us a message, eh? Let us know. We'll tell the listeners, don't worry.
So yeah, we have G.
Yeah. She comes to Boston, from Boston, her hard job, she's seen her boss die.
She was an assistant to like a VP or something like that.
I think she's assistant to the CEO.
Yeah, oh right. And
it's
then
not downgrade, no.
Sorry Jeannie. And it was the hardest job in the world. Such a stereotypical assistant job though, because it's like, God, I had to get him coffee and do that. And like, I think they do a bit more than that when it gets to being an assistant of someone who's like CEO of a company. Yeah,
she definitely mentioned planning his life more than she planned her own and sort of things. And
juggling his mistress.
Juggling his mistresses, I think. There was plurals. But yeah, no, it was very much, it gave me the Hallmark movie vibes of she's come home to the town she used to grow up in and bit different in the sense that the man who, you know, sometimes in a Hallmark movie, the man who, her childhood sweetheart, and it just didn't work out, was there.
Sweet Home Alabama style.
I have not seen the film, but I'm sure it's great.
It's really good. Reese Witherspoon.
I'll get Alex to watch it as well, so he can take that off on Pop Culture for him too. The second plot point is the fact that she's taken over this cafe, she's loving it, but someone or something is out to stop that from happening. They are rattling her bins, making noise at night, trying to scare her out.
It's like the old like Scooby-Doo style.
Very much so.
For you meddling kids. Like
someone is wearing a white sheet and walking around the back of the cafe. Yeah. I feel like we're just going to have to talk about it because at what point did she not go, the call is coming from inside the house?
I know.
At what point did she not realise, out of the 3 employees she has, the 2 younger kids who are nice to her and Norman, who's an absolute arsehole? My first thought was Norman.
Oh, straight away I was like, oh, so Norman's angry about that
Dot
her
didn't
getting
sell
the
cafe to him. Exactly.
Right,
Yeah.
So he's trying to oust her out of the town by frightening her.
Yeah, but then when they had the sleepover, which was an excellent plot device for our burgeoning young couple to get together, the cat, Casper. He threw me for a second. I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm just reading too much into this. But then, of course, she mentions that things are going wrong inside the cafe. And I was like, well, it's definitely Norman then. She just kept being like, why doesn't he like me? I'm like, I think it's very obvious, Jeannie.
Why don't you ask him?
Right?
What is your problem, Norman? Like, I feel like there's some tension here. Let's try and sort this out.
That's it. I feel like if she'd have just be like, sorry, Norman, have I done something wrong? Yeah. Like, that's all she had to say, because he's being quite hostile to her. But then I think we have to talk about when she does find out, and I'm saying this in air quotes because she does not find out. Norman tells her.
Norman just tells her. Like, just straight up.
And
admits it, and then is like, I'm not proud of what I did. You're like, what?
And in the least sort of like dramatic way.
I know.
What he's done is extremely dramatic, and then he reveals it almost disappointingly.
Because did I pick it up that he hired some other people to basically shut her up? Like, come on, Norman.
Guy, when the window breaks, I think that's when he thinks it's been taken too far.
Yes, and then he realises, oh, I never expected anything to get damaged, just the bins.
But he also, the way you said that there is almost quite like contrite and ashamed. He just seems defeated by it all. He's like, well, yeah, just, not even like that. He almost says it as if we're just having a normal conversation about, like, the weather.
Norman's a psychopath. Like, he does not get it. So we had that kind of, the only conflict, or is it?
Oh, well, no, we are going to have to talk about the classic third act breakup that every... you and I don't read a lot of contemporary romance. No. Maybe we're being cynical. Someone could tell us if there is normally not as much of an antagonist in contemporary romance.
Typically, it's another woman that's the antagonist.
An ex-girlfriend
Yeah.
or like a, but that generally also leans into the miscommunication trope, right? Where it's like, actually, it's my sister who I snog and stick my tongue down her
Exactly. We were walking around holding hands and it just so happens to be like my best friend. And you're
but
like,
we hold hands.
Yeah, we just do that, okay? Yeah, so we did have a little bit of he was the antagonist, which is maybe quite refreshing. That it was Norman and...
That there's actually something happening. Yeah, the third act breakup. At what point does Logan think that looking at some details of... Because he's scared that she's gonna up and leave like Lucy did or whatever.
Yeah, but if you had your proposal refused at the annual Christmas lighting
the Christmas tree lighting
festival,
of pretty lights and delights and stars and dreams, yes.
You would be a cynical woman.
It's very true. I would be, yeah. Especially if, as I think it's mentioned, he brings himself out of his shell specifically to do this. Yeah, but I feel like he needs to give Jeannie a bit more credit because she's clearly already proved she's not Lucy.
He just annoyed me when he kept being like, oh, what if I can't open my heart to her because she might leave? Ask her, are you intending to leave? Do you like it here? What's your long-term plans? Like, if we got together, how do you see that working out?
He's been pretty vulnerable with her a few times in the past to tell her about Lucy. So, at what point if you said to her, oh, obviously I've had my heart broken before, I don't want to get into anything if you don't think this is going to be a permanent thing for you, and I can appreciate you might not know that within the first month of being here.
Yeah, but we don't have to get married.
Exactly.
At all, maybe, but also, why can't you just maybe see each other and go on dates and, like, see how it goes? Why is your only plan that you need to make sure you can propose to her at the next Christmas light and extravaganza
musical
festival
of dreams and delight and joy, yes.
Just cool it, Logan.
Actually, I did like at the end of the book that instead of it being a proposal or her being pregnant or whatever, it was them literally just doing a little moving in party.
Yeah, that was quite sweet.
Yeah, so I have to applaud about how it ended. It didn't follow that element of trope of like, we've got 4 kids now or whatever.
Yes.
It was very much like, we've moved in and that's enough.
Yeah.
We'll
just leaving it ambiguous of what happens next. And maybe there's been some character development there and that he doesn't feel he has to know everything that's coming up in their relationship.
Exactly, yeah. But I do also wonder whether it's because there's also going to be a couple more books.
Oh, maybe.
And that we're going to see more of Logan and Jeannie. How do you feel about that, where, I don't know if you've read books like that before, where you have sort of a main 2, and then a story revolves, and then the sequel goes on to another 2, but you only really get snippets of your first, because I always feel like the firsts are my favourites.
Yeah, that's only ever happened to me where I've enjoyed the second couple more once.
Is this Two Twisted Crowns?
Yeah. Yeah. And
by
really
Rachel Gillick.
Yeah.
Throwback to episode 1.
Throwback.
We're only on episode 5.
If you haven't listened, please go back. That's the only time, I think, where I've actually thought, the second pairing are more interesting to me than the first.
You were ravenous for that second pairing, for sure.
The other one I can think of is probably the classic, and it's because it's looking at me right now, is A Court of Silver Flames. Yeah, the whole time I was reading that, I was like, but what are Reese and Farah doing right now? What are they getting on? What's going on with them? I don't mind it. I think in contemporary romance, you can see it coming quite like a mile away, and
the tee up for the next book.
And this, it felt very obvious. Like, yes. Okay, so
this was definitely no exception. Should we talk a little bit about the town? So we have the Pumpkin Spice Café.
Café, yeah.
And is that what it's called?
Yes.
And she does other things other than pumpkin spice. Clearly, because I don't think she did much of a roaring trade.
There was a black coffee mentioned, a latte at one point. Yeah.
Cute. I hope it looks like the way that it does on the front cover.
Right. I'm just going to get into this just now.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to slate the writing, okay? Because I never wrote a book. However, how many times did she have to describe the L-shaped counter where one end you could sit on stools and enjoy your drink, and on the other side you could order at the till? Honestly, the same sentence to describe that was used 3 times.
Oh, I didn't even... God, how bad am I? Clearly. I don't know whether because you and I, we read books pretty fast. We consume books pretty fast. Probably faster than average, I would say.
I would say so.
But I think sometimes I just and whiz past things.
I like setting, though. I like
Alright, so
picturing
that's
it.
something you focus on, whereas I love character.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So I think for me, maybe the kind of 60% mark, I was skimming. Like, I was reading it, but I wasn't, I had to keep reminding myself to be like, whoa, hang on a minute, we've moved from the farm to the festival or whatever it is we were doing.
You sound so cynical.
I know. So slow down and just kind of focus back in again. But I think when it comes to setting, I'm like, no, I need to picture what this is like. And the cafe, it was just like, oh, stop telling it. A cafe itself is not that interesting to describe, to be honest.
We all sort of know what you all sort of know what a quintessential cafe looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. And it had gourds, didn't it? And she kept talking about how he'd brought her little mini pumpkins.
That was cute, though.
And she was sprinkling them about. And then it mentioned a mum.
He liked seeing the gourds around the cafe because it made him feel possessive of it.
Oh, I know. And in the, what was it again? The street market.
Yes.
When she was decorating her little stall.
Oh yeah, they all had this. Oh yeah, and yes, on the stall, and then also in the you can go back to your point in a minute, but in the street they all have the same flowers outside. Right.
Did you know that's what those were? Did you know what a mum was? I had to Google
this is what you were saying, mums. Yes, I know what mums are, but only because of Animal Crossing.
Oh, right, okay.
So have you played Animal Crossing?
Yes.
Yeah, so Animal Crossing you can grow mums.
I was like, what is a mum? Like, I had to look it up. And then I was getting all kinds of different things. Like, some people were saying it was a flower.
A parent?
Yeah, so that came up. And then another one was like this big kind of like, almost like a rosette thing.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, can't be that. Because that's not...
Because they look like almost like flowers within a flower. That's a mum, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Well, they were very pretty when I had a look, yeah.
Oh, well,
but
there you go.
I've learnt something. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Laurie.
Oh, sorry, not me.
No.
Damn it.
You know.
One day.
I've learnt a bit more. Yeah, so we had, as you say, we had the quintessential idea of one pub, one cafe, one bookshop, a farm.
To be fair, it sounds better populated than most little British towns.
I know.
So, if anything, Dream Harbour sounded great because I was like, oh, what? I can go to the bookshop, spend most of my day there, then go either to the pub or the cafe. I mean, obviously, I'm going to the pub.
Yeah.
Because I'm a borderline alcoholic.
And you don't drink caffeinated drinks, really?
Not really, no.
So what else are you going to do?
I like fruit tea. So,
Gilmore doesn't sell that.
That's it. That's what I was thinking. If we do end up going to Dream Harbour, you and I, on some sort of excursion, just outside of Boston, I wonder if it's a real place.
Yeah, that's when I was thinking, oh right, so we're getting Stars Hollow vibes now, just outside Connecticut kind of thing.
Yeah. So you obviously mentioned this last week when you said Laurie Gilmore, and we sort of, I think TikTok has put it forward as a Gilmore Girls meets something sort of vibe.
Yes, I'm pretty sure if you go on maybe Amazon, somewhere like that, to buy it, they say, like, if you like Gilmore Girls crossed with Grumpy Sunshine, it very much refers to Gilmore Girls and says that's exactly what this is. Not at all, in my opinion.
No, I think the only thing we could sort of discuss was the fact that a cafe appears quite a lot in Gilmore Girls, and Luke could be described as grumpy, but I don't think he's the stereotypical grumpy that would be within a Grumpy Sunshine.
No, but to be fair, I didn't think Logan was like Luke.
No, me either. And also, I think it almost does it a disservice to compare it to Gilmore Girls because it's... Thank you. You're welcome. Because I feel like sometimes books are done a disservice when they're compared to something bigger than themselves. So I always am a bit dubious when a lot of books are like compared to Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo, and I always think, ooh, that is a tough act to follow. That is internationally loved. So similar with Gilmore Girls, I think it was doing it a bit of a disservice because it isn't really. I think, like you said, it's just the Stars Hollow vibes.
Yeah, small town, really quaint, really like a kind of quirky cast of characters.
But there's a whole host of those places all over. So I wonder whether they latched onto the name of Gilmore for the author and sort of just ran with that.
I'm too cynical. I thought the author there's no way that author's called Laurie Gilmore. Apologies.
You think it's a pen name?
I think it's a pen name, and I think she knows exactly what she's doing. Sorry, Laurie. Not in an unkind way. Just in a she wants to do. She enjoys Gilmore Girls. She wanted to write a story in a similar kind of town. That's my thoughts.
Let me have a look. Is Laurie Gilmore a pen name? It is a pen name.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying that if you're appealing to someone that enjoys Gilmore Girls, and you know that's what you enjoy and that's what your your story is kind of inspired by, then that's the kind of pen name you would pick. So you could appeal to people.
Oh, it says on her website, as Laurie Gilmore, my pen name, I write steamy small-town romance Dream Harbour. Series is filled with quirky townsfolk, cosy settings, and swoon-worthy romance. I love finding books with the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. If you ever wished you lived in Stars Hollow, or that Luke and Lorelai would just get together already, then these books are definitely for you.
So she knows what she likes, what she likes.
Her real name is Melissa McTurnan.
Right, Melissa. Like what you like. That's fine. I think there's no issue there, but it's fine. It's an interesting way. I've never seen it used before, where the pen name is actually so
indicative
obvious.
to what the comparison is.
But
I'm not sure how I would have felt about the book if I didn't know, if I hadn't heard the comparison beforehand.
As in, you wouldn't have wanted to read it, or
I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, big Gilmore Girls stan. I don't think it would have. I would be curious to see how I would have felt not having the comparison in my head. It didn't ruin it for me, and it didn't add anything, so I feel like maybe I'd have just been based the same.
I think if I read it without knowing that there was a comparison there, I don't think I would have necessarily went to Gilmore Girls in my mind. I wouldn't have made that comparison myself, because I think they feel quite separate. Hallmark, yes.
Yeah, but I think that's the contemporary romance vibe all over, for sure. Characters.
Our quirky cast of characters.
Yeah, when we have a smaller cast, we always say, oh, thank God it's a smaller cast, unlike One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig.
Yeah.
So we've got Logan and Jeannie, who are our main players.
Yep.
We've discussed them a little bit. Jeannie, obviously, has come from the big city.
Yeah, so she had quite a traumatic experience in that her boss has a massive heart attack.
At his desk, and she finds him dead, yeah.
And then she realises...
It's pretty traumatic, yeah. She's like, that could be me.
Yeah, if I don't move to Dream Harbour and open a cafe. So,
do you think she asked her aunt to move, or do you think, because Dot mentions, you hear it a few times during the book, like, oh, Jeannie needs it more, or it would be good for Jeannie, or something. Like, do you think she just happened... Is she calling up her aunt like she calls up her brother a lot? Like,
I think maybe it's came up and her aunt's thought, oh, that's really affected you. Like, I'm thinking about going away to do this anyway, so... Yeah,
I'm retiring.
Do you want to...
Did she give her the cafe, or did she sell her the cafe?
I think she maybe... I don't know, because there was chat about an estate agent at one point.
Yeah, but I think that's trying to sell the cafe. But I do think she did say something like all her money's in the cafe.
Yeah.
So maybe, well...
I mean, fair enough. I mean, you can't just give someone your house and cafe.
I don't know, though. I'd be a bit pissed off if my aunt was like, no. I mean, she better have given her a good rate for it. Mates rate.
Mates rate from Dot. So she moved there, but she had been there before.
Yeah, she and her brother Ben would go and stay with their aunt.
Yeah.
And so she has some tie to it at least, and she always said that she'd loved it, so and
conveniently she has no friends.
No friends. Oh man, yeah, we never talked about that. She just leaves no friends. But I think that is also, and I cannot know for sure, so please tell me if it's not, that is also a trope where you as a main character move somewhere and your friend comes and then also falls in love with like your love guy's brother.
Yes.
Or like close friend or something.
Yeah.
Whereas actually I think Laurie has set us up quite nicely for like no outside interference.
Yeah, don't worry about anybody else.
And we're going to focus on the people and the characters that I've started to cultivate in the first book.
Yeah, it just felt a little bit flat because I did like the conversation she had with her brother, but I felt like there was a big part of her that was like a huge question mark around. Like we had no background to Jeannie really, except that she had been to Dream Harbour a couple of times and she worked.
Yeah, I think... Maybe I wonder if the point was that it was like whoever she was didn't matter back then because it wasn't the real her.
Maybe.
And she's getting to be, because I do think, does she mention because she wants to try and fit in, doesn't she? So she buys like the scarf or like the fingerless gloves or something.
That part. I was just like, really, that's the character development. Like I want to fit into this small town. So I'm not wearing any more business casual clothes. I'm going to wear chunky knits.
I think her clothing sounded lush, to be fair.
It did sound nice, but I kind of wanted to see her buying it. I like to hear about like outfits and choices. I thought we were going to get a montage scene, and it's like she comes out the changing room and they're
very
like,
90s.
No,
yeah. No, I'm really glad that didn't happen.
Okay, well,
look, you know what? You can maybe she'll put it in another chapter for you.
Maybe write a bonus for me.
But there was a mention, I think, that she was thinking she should do that, but then there is a mention of a scarf or something, but did feel like perhaps we weren't getting who Jeannie was because she didn't really know who she was until she got to Dream Harbour.
Okay.
Or
Fair
it
enough.
wasn't the real her.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand your hesitation for it to be like, was she really fully developed? Like, sort of thing.
I just would have liked to have seen some element of her skill set, her kind of what she's passionate about come into her new life a little bit. Like, I know she maybe didn't know herself and maybe didn't enjoy her old life, but like, you must have something about you. You must have passions, you must have dreams and hopes, and it shouldn't add much value to the cafe because it was repeatedly talked about that it could run itself.
Yes, I do agree with that. I do think there was a point where she did say, I've organised blah, 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 his life, so I can organise this cafe. And like you said, maybe it would have been nice for her to, how Mac, sub-character that we will talk about in a minute, he'd started running like a quiz night at the pub.
Yes.
It would have been nice if she'd also added something new to the cafe. Like, I know the book club's there, but she integrated herself into the life of Dream Harbour rather than bringing something to it.
Exactly, and I just think that's a shame because I know you didn't maybe have a positive time in Boston, but you are still a fully fleshed out person that we're supposed to feel, so
very true,
you must have ideas.
I wonder whether that's an element of insecurity from her, because that's her main concern with starting a relationship with Logan, isn't it? Is that she's not good enough.
Yes.
Logan also feels like he's not good enough, or that the town isn't good enough to keep somebody here.
Yeah, even though it sounds like heaven to live there. Like,
right? I bet the rent's really cheap, and I bet everybody just gives you money for no reason.
Yeah, you're in New England, in that kind of autumn period with those gorgeous colours of all the fall colours, and it just sounds really idyllic. Like, oh yeah, what a nightmare.
The farmer's market, or the festival, the autumn festival or something, just sounds lush. Yeah. And you too can pick up your own handsome, burly, fat farmer man.
With his flannels on.
Oh, love a flannel.
Shirts and his Henley. What is a Henley?
I don't know. I did think I googled it. One moment, I'm going to Google it.
One moment, please hold.
A Henley. Oh, Henley shirt. Oh, okay. It gives me Matthew McConaughey vibes. That's what a Henley shirt is.
Ooh.
So, like, for those of you listening, rather than you can't see, no one can see us.
Not yet, anyway.
It's like a half buttoned down, long sleeved shirt.
Yeah, we haven't got a name for that. I would say I would just call it like a long sleeve t-shirt. Because then it's not a tee, is it?
But then it's like a quarter button. That's what I would, because you call what I'm wearing right now a quarter zip, right?
Yeah, that's like a quarter button. Henley's the brand that makes these.
I think Henley might be the brand. Okay. Yeah, like what do you call those jackets that have the tartan on the inside?
Barber?
Punks everywhere are screaming at you that it's not a barber.
Oh, right.
Harrington.
Oh, a Harrington.
It's a Harrington jacket.
Okay. Oh, how middle class did that sound? Barber?
Is it a barber?
Look at a waitress, my barber jacket.
So, Logan.
So Logan is a big burly farmer.
With a 6-pack, apparently.
6-pack for days.
I've not seen a farmer in this country that has a 6-pack.
No, with a beard that he continuously touches. That's mentioned a lot of the time.
He does touch that a lot, yes. I'm wondering, I was curious whether it's long or it's like quite...
I thought it was quite
tight on the face.
Tight in the face, but quite thick.
Oh, God. The word thick there just... it's just... It isn't disgusting, but it did sound a bit when you said it. So yeah, moving on.
Moving on from that horrible description, we've ruined Logan for everybody. So he's tall and described as like that kind of grumpy. I didn't think he was grumpy at all.
Yeah, he is definitely not the kind of grumpy I've read.
No, he's like introverted, isn't he?
He's a bit he just likes to keep himself to himself because of the fact that he proposed to a woman in front of the entire town at the Christmas Magical Festival of Lights, and she turned him down.
It's a bit much to do that. Like,
oh man, I mean, I at least in the way that he describes, it's what Lucy would have wanted, and that's the kind of person she is, where she would have wanted a public proposal. I would have cringed. Please do not get down on one knee in front of anyone. No,
I would have been exactly the same. And I did tell Rory that when we were kind of talking about getting engaged. I was very adamant, like, nothing in public. Nothing where, don't make a big grand gesture. It's not my thing. So maybe it's Lucy's thing and he was just trying to...
Yeah, that was. I think
he
definitely, and she was given the vibe of like someone who was bigger than the town, that was only there for the.
Yeah, she came for like a hen do or something.
Yeah, she came for like a weekend, and sort of was enticed by the local sexy man,
Oh.
and he obviously took that to mean that she wanted to build her life here, but she did not.
So he basically did that because she wanted him to do it, or he
Yeah.
felt she wanted him to do it.
Yeah, I got that vibe. He definitely comes across as, I think he's a lot funnier in his head than he is like when he's speaking.
Oh yeah, I found the first town hall meeting they went to when he was like making little quips internally. I thought, yeah, he's quite a funny character. I didn't think it came across in the dialogue. I'm like, come on, Logan.
Yeah, no, bring your A game. And I do think and I wonder whether that's done on purpose, because he then does get quite more outwardly funnier as it goes along. He says more what he thinks, so I think obviously probably done on purpose. Shall we, speaking of the town hall, should we quickly go through our sub characters that will become characters in their own rights? So we've obviously
cast. Yeah.
Start with Logan's best friend.
Yep. Noah.
Annie.
Oh no. Who's Noah?
Noah is he's sort of like Logan's male best friend. He comes to the town later. To be fair, you spoke about Noah, I spoke about Annie. They are going to be. It's clearly going to be the pairing in book 2. So Annie is Logan's sort of childhood best friend.
Yep.
She runs the bookshop.
Because you've got to work in the town.
Yeah, obviously. God, honestly, I would kill to have Annie's job. Just running and owning my own bookshop.
I wouldn't even mind owning the cafe. I think that would be quite fun.
We could be next door to each other. There should be a hatch between. I would pass you books, you would pass me fruit teas that you would definitely stock.
There's a place like that where I'm moving to, by the way. Look at me not want to triangulate my locations if anybody cares. But
hey, you told people that you were scared of the open water and had contacts last time. Like, people know where you already live. Like, that's why you're having to move.
It's true. It's witness protection now more than anything else. So we have got Annie, we've got Noah, who it's quite obvious that they are going to potentially be.
Yes, and he's moved. So he's an outsider. He's moved to the town. So I think Logan even says the reason he tolerates Noah more than others is because he didn't see him crash and burn at the annual Magic Christmas Tree Lights Festival.
Yeah, there's like everyone's got this kind of like. Oh, there's that kind of like sympathy around
this preconceived notion that Logan is a sad man
because he's an orphan and he lost his parents when he was 5.
Laurie, what are you doing to this guy?
And then everyone felt bad for him then, and kind of a lot of people kind of tried to take him under their wing at that point, and then they were like, "Oh, rooting for him, he's found someone he really cares about," and then, oh my goodness, the Christmas Magical Lighting Festival, it all went wrong.
But yes, so Annie and Noah are clearly very much going to be book 2. And then book 3, we suspect, will be Hazel, who is... They sort of come in a duo, Hazel and Annie. I feel like one is never far behind the other.
They're difficult to determine who's who, I think, some of the time. I'm like, who's speaking? Who's that one? One's got glasses.
Hazel owns the bakery. I think Annie has the glasses because you can't read books and not have glasses.
Of course, how would you see them?
Yeah,
right.
It's all the reading; it wears down the eyes. So Annie runs the bookshop. Hazel runs the bakery.
She does have the bakery because she brings in the baked goods to be sold in the cafe.
Yes. How that?
Why would you do that?
Does Jeannie pay? Like, does Jeannie pay her? I've no money exchanged hands. This
Why would
whole
she
town.
then steal her customers as well?
Oh,
like, give me the baked goods and I'll sell them at my cafe. It's a nightmare.
That's why I was saying Dream Harbour sounds great because it doesn't sound as if it actually works any sort of economical system that exists. It sounds like it works on a barter system.
I imagine would
thrive in a barter system. I don't have any money, but I've got a lot of things.
I feel like they would maybe use buttons for currency.
Oh, that sounds great. I would buy so many buttons. I would come prepared to Dream Harbour with buttons galore. Mac, and he runs the pub. And I felt like Mac got a little bit hard done to, because in the sense that Hazel is the one that thinks Mac's shitting on, doing the bins, sorry.
I know!
And she then says, oh, do you think it's maybe Mac? What, he's ran the quiz.
He's done nothing wrong. He's brought a quiz into the town. I love a bloody pub quiz.
I love a pub quiz. To be fair, I'd rather be at the pub quiz than I'd rather be at Hazel's cookery school.
Oh, me too.
Don't want anyone standing over me telling me what I'm doing wrong.
Nah, I'd be picking the pub quiz all day.
Absolutely.
We'd
be at the pub quiz.
And it was really busy, which I love a busy pub quiz.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I felt sorry for Mac. He didn't really do anything to have this kind of animosity towards him, but then...
I do feel like he's going to be an antagonistic little shit, which I'm going to enjoy, to be fair.
Do you think it's like Grumpy Sunshine, trope 1?
What would Annie and Noah be?
To lovers? No.
I think he definitely wants her on a date. He's a player, right? He's been described as a player. And then, so, Does that mean
popular guy and like more kind of bookish?
is
reserved,
it a She's All That?
Yeah. What a film. Has Alex seen that?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, I've made sure you've watched
That's
that.
fine.
Yeah.
Good, you've prioritised. And then we'll have the classic.
Mac and Hazel, which is Enemies to Lovers.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we might have to tune back in for Enemies to Lovers
We might.
because, as I've said before, I'll read Enemies to Lovers till I'm blue in the face.
All day, every day. So we've got those guys, and then we have Logan's grandparents.
Yes, who I thought were just class. I would have liked more airtime.
They were really
them.
sweet, and he was really like his grandpa. Or that was mentioned, wasn't it? That they
Very
stood
cute.
the same way, and they were like kind of had the same personality.
And
cute.
his grandma just cooks terribly and rots leggings.
That's hilarious. I love that because you were thinking, oh, here he goes, he's going to have like the best chewies ever ate, and then it was like that was vile.
Definitely a reversal trope. Love that. Then I suppose our last two, obviously, who are a romantic pairing as of the end because of that awkward scene, Dot and Norman.
What a scene! It was so it was like a paragraph.
And it did like, and she comes into the cafe. And she's like, where is he? And and Jeannie's sort of like, well, I've tried not to see him, like, and then he comes in and he's flabbergasted because she thinks he's, I thought you were going to come with me. At the beginning, I thought it was a bit like, oh God, are we really making this a thing? And then actually, I was like, oh, that is quite sweet.
I thought it was quite sweet, but I didn't think it was like all that necessary. But I was like, yeah, all right, it's sweet enough.
It's time for sex.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is the first book that has a sort of proper couple of sex scenes.
Yeah, there's a chapter, like a full chapter that's only sex.
Well, excellent.
Uh-huh.
And it's I am going to class it as open door.
I'd say it. What's the rating? 5 chili spice things?
Oh, right,
That's what
okay,
it's out of?
maybe 3.
I'd say 3.
Three?
I guess. Yeah.
I much preferred the build up, the tension. That got me like hot under the collar way more than the actual sex scenes themselves.
I thought for me it was a bit like, and in no way prudish, like do not mind open door sex scenes, but for me it was a bit like, whoa, okay, like this book has not given me these vibes up to this point. I'm surprised that we're getting
down and dirty.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was in no way disappointed, but I was just like, okay.
If anything, I was pleasantly surprised.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think I felt the sexual tension with the alleyway.
Oh yeah, the alleyway was
and
quite
then
hot. Yeah,
in the
right.
truck.
Oh yeah, she straddles him in the truck, and then she like burp.
Yeah, hilarious. Of course, something had to stop them.
I know.
They couldn't fuck in the truck, which I would have loved. But
I do.
not me personally. I just like to read other people doing it. But yeah, for me, I think the sex scenes were a little lacking.
To me, I do try and think, like, what did it add? Like, are we putting sex in for sex sake, or do we...
Right, yeah.
And I think the first, I would say it wasn't gratuitous in that there was so much of it and it became repetitive and boring. I think it was like, there's been some tension. The culmination of that tension is this. And that was fine. But the other thing was, classic. They have sex. She feels very vulnerable. She's opened up to him and all that. And then he gets up. He sees the whatever it is,
the prices,
the listings,
yeah,
and then he just is like, I've got to go. You're like, that could be construed as that you haven't enjoyed that, or that she's done something wrong, or it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, and he doesn't even say, I'm annoyed because I've seen this and I thought you were staying, and I don't even think he ever explains. No,
I don't like it, especially when it's after sex. I just think, oh, come on, that's like quite a vulnerable time. First time with a new partner, and then he's just like, I'm away, I'm going. Yeah.
Do I think he makes it up for it? I'm not sure.
No, but then is there enough time to
very true
see that? I don't know, but that just got me. I was a bit like, oh.
And am I Jeannie? No. So she can make her own decisions.
Exactly.
She's a grown woman.
She's a grown woman, and she seems quite sex positive,
and that's what we love. Final thoughts.
Would you recommend this to a friend?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would recommend this to someone who wasn't sure what they wanted to read and wanted something sort of fast-paced, something easy, something not too taxing, maybe somebody who's in a bit of a reading slump. I definitely think this could be a palate cleanser, for sure. I think it definitely felt like a palate cleanser for me, having read Black Sun. And everything that entailed, and the intrigue and the crissy-crossies and everything. I've just sounded like a child saying crissy crossies.
I like that.
Then having to read that, and it's much easier. The threat level's a lot lower. And I enjoy the tension. And overall, I think I might read the second one.
Okay.
Not immediately when it comes out,
Mhm.
but I think if I'm looking for that similar vibe again, I know where to go.
Mhm.
What about you?
I probably wouldn't read it again myself.
Mm.
And it hasn't really made me feel like contemporary romance is my thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
However, I haven't got any issue with books that get people reading. I think if you have had a tough time and maybe reality for you is you just want to escape and you want to get into something really light, really easy, nothing particularly taxing and quite quick actually, then you probably will enjoy this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be ranting and raving about it and being like, you must read this book. But then, is it the kind of book where it's trying to fit into that category with books that are you might rant rave about and that you might be like, you must read it? A bit like we were talking about Black Sun.
Yeah.
Like, probably for me, my favourite book I've read for the podcast so far.
100% agree, yeah.
And I would say to people, you must read this book. It's amazing. I wouldn't say that about this book.
Yeah, but I think you were saying there, like, we're all different and we all read different things. We all love different things. We know that contemporary romance, there's a huge market for people that love it, and that's great. And like you said, as long as it gets people reading, because that at the end of the day is the most important thing.
So, I mean, I think people kind of say nowadays with Bookstagram and Book Talk, like, oh, reading's becoming quite mainstream. It's becoming quite, like, popular and, like, the kind of, for lack of a better word, the kind of popular crowd, like, who maybe would have shunned reading before and seen it as, like, quite uncool, are now like, oh, reading's our thing and we really, we love it now. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Why are we gatekeeping reading? Like, let people read if they want to read.
Hey, popular people can't read books. It's our thing.
We need something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But no, you are right. Anyone reading is just
great. And if this is something you think, yep, I do want something light-hearted, very low stakes, and I can just escape to Dream Harbour for a bit, then yeah, go for it.
I only have one book that I could say, if you like this, you would like that, and that's Assistant to the Villain. That is it's not a contemporary romance, it is a romance, but it's a fantasy romance. She works for a super villain, or a villain in a fantasy land, and they are Grumpy Sunshine, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Okay. And I suppose if you wanted contemporary, I've already mentioned Beth O'Leary. She does a whole host of contemporary romance.
I would say if you like this book, you will like The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling.
Ah, yes, I've seen that around. So no,
contemporary romance, witchy vibes, small town, Halloween town, kind of like that small cast of characters idea, and very low stakes again. So
yeah, sometimes low stakes is nice. All right. Next week, unfortunately, we're not going to be here. We're taking a break because Amy is moving house. Yeah. But don't fear, we'll be right back the week after with the next episode.
If you do want to use the time to catch up and potentially be ready to listen to the next episode,
a little sneaky peek,
then we are going to be reading next A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham, which is a crime book.
Yeah, completely out of my genre.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We will see you the week after for Stacey. And crime.
Stacey, yay!
Crime, no.
No.
But yeah, happy reading, guys.
Bye!